Now that Stranger Things Season 5 has officially wrapped and the series is concluded, I wanted to go back and talk about Season 5 and give you guys my overall thoughts on that season as a whole. Was it worth the wait or did it end up sucking? After the remarkable Season 4, Season 5 really had huge shoes to try to fill, and it really did have an almost impossible task of trying to end a series that has been beloved by many. As everyone knows, it's not easy to end a series, so it is commonplace for the final season of a show to get a lot of mixed criticisms. So what is my overall score for Season 5 and where does it fit in against the other 4 seasons? I'm going to cover that ranking as well as my overall thoughts on the season in this video, so let's discuss. I'm going to be upfront and say that when it comes to Stranger Things, I am a fanboy, and I do mean a fanboy. I'm such a fanboy that I haven't gotten a new tattoo in literally years, but this show has me thinking of some possible ideas. That's how much of a fanboy I am. When I look back at Season 5, one word comes to mind, and that is epic. This was seriously the most epic that Stranger Things has ever been, and Season 4 was very, very epic. This season raised the stakes even higher. One thing I really enjoyed about Season 5 was that time jump that we had between this season and Season 4. It really did feel like we were catching up, like we were seeing these characters way more evolved. They had new terms like crawl, flipped. I was like, oh my gosh, we've missed a lot, and I kind of found that feeling kind of exhilarating. Not to mention, it was really awesome seeing everybody finally collaborating, because we had usually some side quest adventures going on, but in this season, at the start of it, everybody is working together. They all have a common goal of trying to kill Vecna. And I know that Vecna is a villain and you're not supposed to root for the villains, but I have to say, I do really think that he is a completely compelling character. I think this is one of the most interesting villains since Darth Vader. He's that awesome. I think he's iconic, and I really do find him to be, I don't relate to his cause, but one thing I think about a good villain is that origin story that made them how they are, and I do think that we do see a good origin story for Vecna in this series. Like I said, this guy, iconic. Something I mentioned in one of my previous recap videos is the way this show manages to feel fresh by introducing new characters, and that continues in this season. Now, technically speaking, Holly is not a fresh new character. She's been on the series the entire time, but she was always relegated to like the background. She never had any speaking roles, or maybe if she did, it was like one line. Now she has a bigger role, so they did end up recasting Holly with a different actress. I do feel like that worked out fine because the previous actress, no fault to her own, but she really didn't make a big impression. So it's a good time to restart who is playing this character, and I thought Nell Fisher did a fantastic job playing Holly. This girl has a bright future ahead of her. I'm so glad that they gave this character a bigger role. Her character really is awesome. And another fantastic character in this new season is Derek. This guy, I hope he's going to remain as iconic as I think he is. He is instantly quotable.
Read my mind, numbnuts. Suck my fat one!
Very fun to watch. He's just that dipshit that you just can't help but find really appealing. Another standout actor. So yeah, these two characters being given the roles that they were given in this season, I really do think was a great choice. Another smart choice by the Duffer Brothers to give new characters the spotlight. I think it overall helps. I will say that this season does have some missteps, and I don't want to ignore those or pretend they don't exist. For example, I think we can all agree that Linda Hamilton's character, Dr. K, turned out to be mostly pretty useless. I saw somebody say online that all she does is walk through doors and like walk places, and I was like, yeah, that's actually kind of accurate. So I'm not sure why they brought such an iconic actress into this role just to have her playing a pretty useless character. I think we could have gotten a lot more from that character. I also have to say, I do think it was a mistake for Netflix to break up the season into these sections like they did. I think we all know that they are trying to drag out the subscriptions, because the second wave of episodes, even though they did have some great moments, Max getting rescued, Will taking over Vecna, Will's coming out scene, they did ultimately feel like they halted the momentum a bit. And I can't help but feel like Will's coming out scene, for example, would have been better received if we didn't have that break, because we had that scene and then we had a whole week break for people to sit there and stew on it. And stew they did. They went to the internet immediately to express their displeasure, and I think that if they had not done this giant week break, this stupid schedule, something like that might have played out better. That being said, it's completely predictable that when a character is gay on a TV show, even now in 2025, there's going to be huge pushback. It's really, really frustrating. It's getting quite quite old, but it is predictable. It's about as predictable as the fact that the sun is going to set. No new ground was broken here, but I was left feeling pretty disappointed by this pitiful reaction that people had. I do think that, sure, that scene might have felt a little bit awkward, but that is because it is awkward coming out. There is no part of coming out that is comfortable, and it never feels like the right time. It is a very crippling fear, and as a gay person, I very much connected to the way Will was feeling in that scene. When you are gay and you're having that thought about coming out to your friends and family, you don't know what's going to happen. We've all heard horror stories of people getting completely disowned from their friends, from their families, just left alone in a miserable way, and that is not something that anyone wants to experience. So when you are thinking about coming out, that is something you do have to think about. And so yeah, it's pretty reasonable for Will to have been totally scared shitless about this. So I think that that scene really worked, and I thought it was fantastic. I also do have to say that I think that final episode could have been a bit stronger. We had such high stakes going into this episode, and then it did play out pretty quickly. Vecna and the Mind Flayer were defeated way faster than I expected. I think that episode could have been a bit longer, and it would have really fixed some of that problem, because I didn't want to not see the characters get their send off and all that stuff. I liked that part of it, but I also kept feeling like more stuff could have happened. The battle could have been even more grand, and I think that with some additional runtime, it would have been able to address sending off these characters in a way and give us that big epic finale that we were hoping for. So it is a little bit of a misstep there. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel overall pretty positive about the way this series ended, but it could have been better. That's just a fact. All in all, I quite enjoyed this season. I am just a huge fan of Stranger Things. As I said, I'm a fanboy, and that is not changing. As a matter of fact, it does feel a little bit difficult for me to even rank these seasons on a certain level, because that's like asking me to pick my favorite pizza, to rank pizza toppings, and I just happen to fucking love pizza, and I happen to love this fucking show. All in all, for me, season 5 is an 8 out of 10. And now to rank this series, I'm gonna say it has to be season 1 is the best season. That is the OG season that set the tone for everything. It is the best season. And then I think it's season 4, and then season 3, season 5, and then finally season 2. And I'm putting season 2 at the bottom, but that does not mean that it's a bad season. It's just when you rank something, you have to have one number higher and one number lower. So that's my overall thoughts on the 5th season and my ranking of the various seasons that we got throughout these amazing years. It really has been a fun, awesome experience. I am just so thrilled with this series. I really am appreciative to the Duffer Brothers for giving me this amazing show that has given me so many iconic moments and these memories that I just continue to feel so warmed by. This is a series that I'm going to continue to revisit over and over again. That is very much a fact. So what is your ranking? How do you rank this series? How do you rank this season? Put your thoughts and all that stuff in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, guys, subscribe to this channel. Later.